Okay, we're live. So welcome everybody. Tonight's going to be super exciting. I'm just so thrilled to have with us speaking tonight Joseph. Okay, now I'm not going to be able to say your name. Is it Aquilino?
Aquilino.
Aquilino.
Oh, I need some more Spanish lessons. So Joseph is with us from New York. He's going to talk to us about his experience with writing and about doing internet radio shows. He's really super nice guy. Lots of fun going to be happening there. And then Patricia's going to talk to us a bit about speaking, and she's going to show a video, a really special video tonight, an interview she did called Heart Awakening with Patrick Schschwerdtfeger. Oh, no, Schschwerdtfeger. Better say that right. Anyways, we'll have to send the spelling out. But Patrick, Patricia, did you see that he sent us a Facebook picture today?
No, I haven't seen it.
Yeah, he's in Chicago at some hotel where he's actually staying in the presidential suite, the same place that Barack Obama stays.
Very nice.
I know, how cool is that, right? Okay, so I want to share something really special tonight. Gail from Surrey, BC, her last name is Frost, is a writer. She's a wonderful lady. She has 5 grandchildren. She did spend some time in Toronto. She's back here with us now. And she did the humor exercise. So what I'm going to do is put the humor exercise that she wrote up on the screen. And so give me a second to do that. And then I'm going to read that because it's so cool. Where'd it go? How come it's not here? Where is my... Okay, that's... Oh, there we go. I guess it's under here somewhere. Where'd it go? Well, that's strange. It usually comes right up. Can you guys see that, Patricia?
Nope, can't see anything, but I have it in front of me if you want me to read it.
Yeah, oh no, look, see when it's there and then it's not there. That's weird. Wait a minute, just share, entire screen, yeah. Share. They must, they went and did updates on our webinar program, and I'm getting strange stuff there. No, that's not what I want.
That's very nice, very psychedelic.
No, I don't know. Okay, Patricia, read our story. Or do you have it? No, you don't have the final one.
I don't have the final one? The one that you sent me this morning.
Oh, you do have it. Okay, yeah, read it, because for some reason it's not coming up on the screen, and I have such a cool picture of Gail getting an autograph from the 3 tenors at Chapters, and it was so cool.
Oh, I didn't know what that was. How cool is that? Okay, well, you know what? I'm going to read it, and why don't you keep trying putting it up?
I'll do my best.
Okay, so this is a story that Gail Frost wrote, and it's called Once Upon a Time, I Did Stand-Up Comedy. After divorcing my husband, I started making fun of myself as a single, mature woman. It was my way of dealing with the fact that for divorcees, the grass was not so green on the other side of the fence. Humor was my way of coping. Though most of what I said seemed silly to me, my friends continually encouraged me to become a stand-up comic. One day, I mustered the nerve to visit a club on Commercial Drive in Vancouver that I'd heard was run by a woman who gave new comics a chance to debut their material. The woman was very encouraging and said, "Come back on Wednesday at 7 p.m. and I'll give you a spot." I was shocked and happy, but not nearly as shocked as I was when a few friends and I arrived at the club on Wednesday night and the same woman said, "I have a cold. Why don't you go on first?" With no time to be nervous, I got up on stage and started talking. I had written a few comedic monologues and did what I could to entertain the crowd. About 5 minutes into my routine, an annoying red light started flashing in my eyes. Curious about it, but determined to be as professional as possible, I kept going. A while later, someone approached me and said, "You have talked for 11 minutes. Sets are only 5 minutes." Oops, I felt like an idiot. However, in my defense, the woman hadn't told me there was a time limit. Very good.
Isn't that fun? Okay, so... Okay, I'm back. Thank you very much, Patricia. And I did figure out it wasn't the webinar, it was me.
Oh, okay.
Messed up. So, Patricia, can you just maybe preface a little bit tonight about why it's so important to share your story from the stage or via the internet, radio, or television, or whatever?
why it's so important to share our story.
I'm just gonna switch over to you. Yeah.
Okay, so there's a few things that I can say about that, and that is that, as we all know, we all have a story. And it's important for us to voice it. And I know for me, on a personal note, I've suffered on and off from depression. And one of the things that happens when you suffer from depression is that you really don't want to connect with anyone. And I found that by having the courage to tell my story, it was a really healing way of getting back into the world. And from working with all the authors in the Heart, Mind, Wisdom collection, yeah, you know, that's what we keep hearing. We keep hearing that when you write your story, when you tell your story, it heals the soul, it heals yourself, and it's always the hope when you share your story that somebody can say, I can do it. It's important for people, and also for yourself to get to the point where you're proud of who you are and not ashamed or not feel bad because something has happened to you in your life.
Trisha,
so that's basically...
Trisha, can you hear me?
Yeah.
We're getting some kind of feedback from either your mic or Joseph's. How do you say that? Joseph's mic.
I don't.
Okay. Mine sounds really clear here.
So I don't know what I have to do. I might have.
No, don't do anything, Joseph. Okay. So Trisha, I was just getting some noise. I don't know if anybody else is too, but anyways, keep going.
I'm done.
You're done. Okay, well, why don't you introduce Joseph and bring him on?
Okay, so Joseph. We asked Joseph to send us a bio, and of course, you know, those famous questions, those statements, we keep calling questions, the statements with which 2 are true and 1 is false. And, yeah, Joseph was very kind because he sent us 2 emails because he is so accomplished that it didn't all fit on email. So we actually got a second email with more information. But I'm thinking, geez, you know, if I tell a little bit about Joseph, then some of the questions are answered. So I'll do my best. But Joseph is an internet entrepreneur and innovator. And he suffered an accident in 2008. And his disorder is called reflex sympathetic dystrophy. So he is an advocate for this disorder and wants, as part of his legacy, to make it a household name. He is also the creator of JGF organization, the most respected and influential family on the internet. Started out in 2009 as a simple hashtag and grew into an online powerhouse of over 100,000 followers, fans, friends across numerous social media sites. Wow, Joseph. Give yourself a little pat on the back. And that's not all. We also have, he is also the creator of Gigglestown Creations, and he has a blog talk radio channel, which has grown to a listener base of 93,000 listeners. So this is amazing, Joe. Your reach is fantastic. And yeah, you should be very proud of yourself, and you've done so well. And actually, Joseph is part of Heart, Mind, Wisdom number 3. So we will be able to read his story, or you will be able to read his story in January when we launch on January 15th. Mm-hmm. And the name of his story, unless we find another name for you, but this is the one we have now, is No Pain, No Gain, which actually makes a lot of sense. Mm-hmm. So that's a little bit about Joseph. And now I'm going to give you the 3 statements. So if you think you know which one it is, put it into the chat right away. If not, we'll listen to Joseph's presentation, and then you can probably get the answer from that. So it says, Joseph Aquilino is a published author. That's number 1. Number 2, Joseph visited the Mayo Clinic to treat his chronic pain. And number 3, Joseph is an accomplished internet radio host. So one of those is not correct. Okay, Joseph, so we're looking forward to your presentation today. What is the title of your presentation?
Title of my presentation is how to become a better, or how to become a radio broadcaster, basically. And when I first started back 4.5 years ago, when I started back 4.5 years ago, almost 5 years ago, I have to say that it was a tough decision. It wasn't an easy decision to make. It took me about a week, maybe a week and a half, to actually make the decision to move forward and actually get things going. And I finally got things going. I decided I'm going to go for it, and it was the end of February 2011, and I decided it was time, to do one of my dreams. Actually, a bucket list dream of mine was to become a radio show host. So, I said to myself, I'll do it. I'm going to go and do this. It seems so fun and exciting. So I'm going to try it out. And guess what? I really enjoyed it from the onset. When I first started, I really got into it. There's a bunch of different mediums you could use on the internet. You could use Blog Talk Radio, like I have, blogtalkradio.com. Okay, if you go to blogtalkradio.com, you could be a show host right on there. You could do half-hour shows for free. I started out doing half-hour shows on there, and then I moved to the $39 package a month, which gave me 2-hour shows, and now I'm actually up to the second package, which gives you 3-hour shows, a $99 package. So it's really fun. And when you go on there, you can't have a script, because if you have a script, it just doesn't flow right. It's not like writing a book, doing a radio show. I go on there and I'm just like free flowing, like I am now. I don't have a script in front of me. I have no script in front of me. I'm just talking the way I do things, and this is the way I do things normally on the radio, and this is the way I'm doing things here. So basically it's impromptu. It's like if it comes to you, you say it, Some of us, we can't do things like that, but for me, it comes naturally to do things impromptu, and to actually have a script, I would probably fail if I had a script in front of me, because it's just not me to have a script, So I would suggest, if you're gonna do radio, don't do it with a script. Talk about something that you love. Talk about something that you really love to do, and if you have a passion to do that particular thing, obviously it'll all come to you in your brain, and you won't have to worry about writing it down, writing out a script. But what you can do, if you have a guest, you can write down like 2 or 3 questions, then it'll free flow it, Like the only things, if anything, I write down are 2 or 3 questions, when you do radio. For me, it's not a really good radio show if it's not impromptu, So it's a lot of fun, because there's a lot of fun stuff that happens in a radio show compared to all the information that is given out, so people could learn and then bring it back to your friends and your family, so they could actually come and listen to the show and actually get a feel on how the radio shows actually go. I've been doing radio shows now for almost 5 years, and it just comes to me naturally to just go on the air like this. And I use my hands. Nobody sees me moving my hands when I'm talking on the radio, but I'm always moving my hands like this, when I'm talking on the radio. And I do that on video too, because I guess I'm from New York, so we all use our hands in New York. But when it comes down to it, you got to show that expression. You got to show that expression. And for me also, it's me with my chronic pain, to actually do the show and not feel the pain, because I'm so focused on the show that I have no time for my pain. It's like I got no time to think about my pain, and the pain is like sometimes a 3-4, sometimes a 5. Imagine living with pain. Imagine living with pain but holding a match to that pain. That's what I feel every day, okay? But I go ahead and I do a show every day, but when I'm doing the show, I feel absolutely no pain because I'm just so focused. You got to be focused on the show. You know, if you're not focused, and you have to be focused. I mean, you gotta, if you're gonna do a radio show, you gotta be focused on your topic. You gotta pick your topic, be focused on that topic, and have a guest. If you have a guest, make sure the guest is appropriate for that topic. You know, and so on and so forth. You know, but that's the way you become a great radio show host. Is just be yourself. You know, be you. You know. If you're not fit for radio, if you know people are fit for radio, get them involved. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, only you know if you're fit to do something. You know, only you know if you could go on radio and just, you know, do like what I do every day. 3-hour shows sometimes, just me talking, 3 hours. You know, that, I mean, I have to get something to drink, you know, because I get drunk, you know. I mean, like, you know, so it's you know, you just gotta focus, and if it's not for you, it's not for you. I mean, give it a try once, you know. I mean, see if you would be a great radio show host. But you know, you'll know if it's not for you or if it is for you. But always stay on topic too. Yeah, I mean, you know, I sometimes flow off topic, you know, which is no good for me to do, but I try to bring relevance to what I'm talking about in my other tangent into what we're talking about. So if I'm talking about chronic pain and then all of a sudden I go off into like sports or something, I'll tie that in with chronic pain somehow. You know what I'm saying? You know, because, you know, in sports there's all the type of chronic pain, you know? I mean, so, you know, it could easily be tied into what I'm talking about with chronic pain. So I always try to tie in. If I have a tangent on something else, try to tie it in with the topic of the day. And all this month actually happens to be RSDCRPS Awareness Month on WIRN Internet Radio. So that's all we're talking about is chronic pain this month. So, you know, and we've been having shows now 3 to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And, of course, if you guys are interested in learning about, you know, what I have, you know, and what millions of other people have out there, you know, that's a good place to come to actually learn how to become a radio broadcaster. So maybe you want to come to listen to a few shows and the gist of what we do. You know, in the beginning I have ads. You know, in the beginning I have voiceovers, you know, to lead into what I'm going to say in the show. I have music also. Sometimes the music ties in nicely. You know, you got to have some lead-in stuff. You know, it's always good to have, you know, voiceover king. My voiceover king happens to be Jason Ophir. He does all my voiceovers for me. He did the voiceover for WIRN Internet Radio, the introduction and the ending. And I play that before every show. It's like an awesome lead-in to me. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes, like this month, we play music. It's RSDCRPS song that we play. So it's up to you, you know, to get into it. When you actually get into it, you will know what you want to talk about, basically. You know, you could talk about anything. Talk about your passions. You know, anything that you're passionate about, you would love to talk about, right? You know, so I get into it. You know, also, it's not only Blog Talk Radio. You can use a bunch of other mediums, like there's Ustream out there. There's Spreecast.com. There is Blab.com, which is just came out, an awesome app that I'm going to start using with a couple of my friends. I'm going to be doing some podcasts with them on Blab, you know, co-hosting, you know, collaborating with other folks. There's also Periscope, which is very good, YouTube, which is awesome, you know, and of course this medium right here, you know, Google Plus, you know, is always great, you know, Hangouts. So, you know, there's a bunch of different mediums where you could do a show. You don't have to do it on Blog Talk Radio. You can do it wherever you want. If you want video, you come here, you go to Blab, you go to Periscope, you know, there's a bunch of different ones you could do. If you don't want video, Blog Talk Radio, there's iTunes, there's a whole bunch of different things you could do with radio too. There's TalkShoe, TalkShoe.com. I have some satellite channels there. There's Vaughn TV, which is both voice and video, so you could actually do both on there if you want. There's just a lot of great things you could do to get your voice heard, especially if you're disabled. You know, if you're disabled like me, you know, can't get out much, you know what I'm saying? Here I am. Ha-ha, here I am, you know, and you see my face, you hear me talking, and it's just as good if I was in front of you, you know? So, I mean, to me, hey, guys, I'm in front of you, so there you go, all right? So, you know, it's more or less, it's a good chatting medium with folks, too, you know? I mean, like, Skype is awesome, too. I forgot Skype. Skype is great, you know, not just for phone calls, you know, but for, you can have meetings on there. I always have my meetings on there. Freeconferencecall.com is awesome for recording shows, by the way. If you want to record a show, freeconferencecall.com is an awesome way to have pre-recorded shows. I've done that before because I offer that to people that are afraid to come on in front of thousands of people. You know, because thousands of people come to listen to my show every day. You know, so some people get nervous. I don't know what to say. They clam up. You know, so it's like, you know, it's either, you know, you come on or we do a pre-recorded show. You let me know what you want to do. I mean, I want to have you on my show, so tell me what you want to do. And I try to make the person as comfortable as possible. You know, I give them options, and I allow them, you know, hey, if you want to do a pre-recorded show, nobody will be there, just me and you. It's just a phone call, you know. And then we pre-record it, and then the thousands of people listen afterwards, you know. But, you know, it really, you know, it's good to give options to people. It's good to give options to guests, you know, because, you know, you don't want to, you know, put them in a hard place, especially if they live internationally. You got to work around the times too. I'm not saying Canada, because Canada is right here, but I'm saying like people like really abroad, like in the Philippines. I had people in the New Zealand on. I had people in Australia on a few times. You know, so, I mean, you got to work with those people, especially with the time zones. It gets a little crazy, you know. It's like the next day over there. Well, we're focusing on, you know, we didn't even get to the next day over here, you know. So it's more or less that, you know, it gets, you know, a little crazy with the time zone. So you got to work with people with that, you know. You got to learn to just work around people's schedules, too, sometimes. Hey, guys, you know, it's all about the calendar, too. You always have to have a calendar in front of you to make sure you're booking the shows right. I have my calendar right here. I'm going to move because I don't want the microphone to go nuts. But I got a big, huge calendar on my desk, you know, and I write down everything I need to do. Everybody that's going to be on my show goes on this calendar. You know, it's always important to be organized and manage your time well, you know, especially when you're doing radio. You know, because you need to make sure it's the right time, too. You know, 3 to 6 is an awesome time slot. You know, so is 8 to 11. That's an awesome time slot, too. You know, because people around the world are just waking up around that time, you know. So you get the international crowd around that time. So it's more or less, you know, works out around those two major times. So like 3 to 6, you catch a lot of people in the United States, in Canada, in Mexico, and down south in South America, you know, and then 8 to 11, you catch a lot of those people like, you know, in China, you know, in Australia, all those people. You catch all those people around that time. You know, so you got to strategically plan when you're going to have your shows, you know. It's either 3 to 6 for me, which 3 to 6 is a perfect time slot for what we're doing for this month, because a lot of people in the United States have this disease, you know, but a lot of people all over the world have this disease too. But, of course, we have something called an archive. Oh, it's an archive. So they could go back and listen to the shows. They don't even have to be at the show, you know. So if you have an archive, which is awesome, Blog Talk Radio is great for that. They have the archive. I have my very first show on archive. You will go all the way down to my archive. My very first show is there, so you can see what a novice I was in the beginning compared to what I am now. You know, and it's basically you're just reliving, you know, all of my shows. I've done 525 shows. You know, so I did more shows than some of the late night show hosts out there. You know, and I got to change that number I gave Patricia, because 93,000 has been surpassed a long time ago. It's actually up to 100, almost 100,000 now. But you know, it's you know, it's just awesome. You know, every day you get these awesome people calling into your show. You got to open up the lines too. People call in and get active in your show. You know, because it's no fun if you're the only one talking on the show. I mean, I love to talk, as you can see. I love to talk, you know, but I like the interaction. You know, I like the interaction. I could go on for days, but I don't want to take up the whole time here. But I'm just saying that when you, you know, make sure you get interaction. I have a chat room, too, in Blog Talk Radio. So there's interaction. You could network with people in the chat room. You know, so Blog Talk Radio really gives you a lot of things, a lot of awesome things, you know, that you could do. Chat room, people could call into your show. Hey, my call-in number, by the way, is 310-982-4253 if you want to come to the show anytime. You know, and, you know, I'll answer any question you have, you know, and so on and so forth. It's always great to have engagement from the fans, which is very important. You know, you want to make sure people are liking your show. And the only way I gauge that is to call in. When I open the call lines, like 15 people plop in. Wow, look at all these people that want to talk to me, you know, type of thing. And it's like, you know, but I do all of this stuff in pain, you know, and, you know, I'm humbled by that, really, because, you know, a lot of people, you know, don't think chronic pain patients could do anything that they want to do. Well, look at me. Look at me. You know, I've done the radio show. I've started a not-for-profit now, JGF Foundation Incorporated. Have JGF Organization, which is Joey Giggles Family, which is started on Twitter, you know, and it started out as a tiny bitty hashtag and worked its way up to be this huge organization that I built. You know, I got a published book out there. Somebody wants to know, do I still do the Author's Nook? And yes, I do, Catherine. I do the Author's Nook shows. The only reason why we stopped those right now is because our main focus is RSD CRPS this month. I got to focus on that because that's what I have. People are looking for me to do shows on that. I'm doing a show every day except for Thanksgiving Day this month. So anyone's welcome to come down and listen to those shows. I know Catherine came down. I know Catherine was there for a few of the shows. And, you know, it's just, you know, it makes you cry, some of these shows, because people are coming on to really talk about their journeys with chronic pain. You know, so you really get into it, especially if it's a kid coming on to talk. I get tears that come to my eyes when I'm doing some of these shows. You know, so I mean, like, you know, being a show host, you can't cry on air, you know. You can't cry on air. That's no good. You know, so I shut off the mic sometimes. I do what I got to do. You know, if I got to cry, I cry, and then I turn the mic back on. There's a way to mute the mic or whatever, you know. But it's tough. It's hard. So, yeah, but it's great and rewarding, too. Yeah.
Hey, Joseph, can you give us a phone number to go on your show again?
Yes, it's 310-982-4253.
Okay, excellent. And so after the show, can you type it in the box for everybody?
Well, I'll do it right now. Why not?
Why not? Patricia, do you have any questions for Joseph? Joseph, that was excellent. So much information. Really friendly presentation. You're such a sweet guy. I can hardly wait till we actually meet in person.
Yes, so, I know.
Yeah, it'll be fun. Patricia, you got any questions for Joseph?
She's on mute.
Why don't you get on mute? Just a minute, Patricia. You're on mute. I took you off mute, but you're still on mute.
Hey, I unmuted myself.
Okay, good girl.
Yeah, actually, I was. Catherine and I were both on Joy's show, weren't we, Joey?
Yes, that's
Joseph?
right.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah, it was a great experience, and we talked about heart, mind, wisdom, and that's how we got to meet Joseph. Actually, welcome, Catherine. Catherine is one of our authors, and she's a very special person because she is in Heart, Mind, Wisdom number 1, 2, and 3. So, yeah, she's an amazing person. So, yes, you have lots of points that you gave us. What I heard from you is that basically you have to try it. You have to try whatever it is that you want to do. Now, I do have a question for you because you said it took you a while to make the decision to go on radio. How did you think of going on radio to start with? Like, what motivated you to do that?
Well, my dream was actually going on to radio. That was my real radio, like serious radio. I really wanted to get on radio, So I said to myself, man, what could I do? What could I do? I'm thinking to myself, is it a possibility I could do internet radio? So I just started typing in internet radio in Google, and all these websites popped up, and I started looking into it, and Blog Talk Radio was the best one at the time. So I said to myself, what the hell? I'm going to try it, and that's how it all started. So.
Right, and did you know that it was going to become what it has become?
No. Actually, I'm so proud because I never knew that I could get all these people to listen to my show. It's humbling. It really is. A guy with chronic pain, the average Joe that walks down the street and nobody knows who the heck I am, and I'm an internet radio celebrity. It's crazy, But if people actually come on the internet and watch my show and listen to my show, they'll be like, oh, I passed that guy in the street the other day, So it's like, it's like very humbling. You know what I'm saying? It's very humbling.
Very good. Good.
Yeah.
And so it really was sort of like a passion of yours, and then you just decided that you're going to try internet radio. How cool is that? So it's about acting, isn't it? It's about taking that first step.
Yeah, basically, yeah. I mean, you gotta be able to tell yourself that you could do it. Basically, I can do this, and you got to tell yourself if you really want to do it, you got to tell yourself that I can do it, and then focus, and then make sure you do it impromptu, because if you do it I've heard scripted shows before, and it's like, you want to fall asleep, But, if you do it impromptu, it's like SNL. It's like SNL. If you watch SNL on TV, it's awesome because they do everything on that show impromptu or improv, So that's what it is. I mean, it makes it more exciting if it's improv. So.
Okay, great. So we do have a question for you. It's Gail. Gail asks if you've ever tried energy healing or acupressure.
I've tried acupuncture, not acupressure, and I have tried something called Reiki.
Reiki.
With EFT, the emotional tapping system.
Yeah.
So yes, I have tried numerous of those things. Yes.
Okay, great. So thank you, Joseph. That was great, and I keep calling you Joey because you were introduced to me as Joey, but I know that your author's name is Joseph, so I go between Joey and Joseph. I hope you don't mind.
That's okay. That's fine.
Okay, it's unscripted. You can tell it's totally unscripted tonight.
That's it. There you go. There you go. Make better listening for the public. Yeah,
that's
Joseph,
right.
Can you just quickly tell us the name of the treatment that is working for you?
What's that? I'm breaking up.
Can you quickly tell us the name of the treatment that does work for you?
Oh yeah, sure, definitely, and it's a whole journey in itself, honestly. But it's called Calamar therapy. Oh man, it's a dream. If I can't talk about it, it's just it's like a whole journey. But I'll tell you about where I am now. Basically, I was a guinea pig in the beginning, actually, for other folks, you know, with chronic pain. Actually, I was one of the first in New York State. Actually, the first person in New York State to try calamar therapy. And
Can you write it in for us, Joey? Can you write it in so that we see what it is?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, Joey, we're going to have you back on to talk about that because there's a lot of people out there suffering from chronic pain, and I'd like you to share with them what you shared with me on the telephone.
Oh, definitely.
Not today, but I would like to have you back to do that.
Oh, I would love to do that. I would love to do that. I could go on and on and on about calamar. Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So thank you so much, Joseph. That was great.
Okay, we'll talk soon. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm going to put it back to Trisha and introduce a new segment. So, and also, Joey, can you type in where we can reach you and how people can get a hold of you personally, like your email address? And then after you've done that, can you mute your mic for me?
Yes.
It's not that I don't want to hear you, it's that I'll get an echo if you don't mute.
Okay, I'll mute. Hold on, I'll just mute out here. Okay.
Yeah, thanks, Joseph.
Joseph is muted.
Joseph is muted. Okay, wow, what a super guy.
Yeah, that's great. And it's interesting because he talked about some of the same things that now we're going to show an interview that I did with Patrick. And Patrick talked about the same thing as well because you'll see that he, thought that he would like to be a speaker, but it was something that he just went out and did. He just went with no training or anything like that. He just decided he was going to try to become a keynote speaker, and he is all over the world now. So yeah, it's all about having a little bit of passion and staying focused and just going for what you want to do and taking that first step. It's always taking that first step. So let's put on, Patrick, do you have something else to add to that?
Well, I'm just going to switch over to me for a second.
Okay.
Because, I'm not getting enough screen time tonight. You know how I am. No, I made some notes on Patrick. He has spoken on TEDx, which Patricia and I will tell you about at another time, but always try to get on TEDx. He's also a regular speaker on Bloomberg TV, and he wrote the book Marketing Shortcuts for the Self-Employed that Patricia's going to talk about, but he's spoken in Dubai, Mexico, the Caribbean, South America, and just all over the world. He's a huge man, really neat guy. And I'll put the video on, and it's about 18 minutes, and then we'll all meet back here. Now, Joseph, I need to tell you that you probably can't see the video tonight. You'll have to watch it on the replay because you're an admin. But I'm just going to put the video on. Well, wasn't that fun, you guys? I just absolutely loved that interview you did with him. Patricia,
Yes.
tonight's really about, helping people to explore how to be, to communicate and get the word out, like Joey was talking about earlier. And I got to remind you, we have to find out what's the true statement about Joseph. But what's your #1 secret for interviewing people?
My number one secret.
Yeah.
Well, I think that interview. Do we have feedback? Because no, I can hear the feedback.
I'm going to go for you to present to everyone. No, I'm not hearing feedback now.
The most important thing is to make the person that you're interviewing comfortable, and that it's just like a conversation. And you notice through the interview that I was looking at the camera as if the camera was a third person speaking or being in the room with us. So it's really about making the person that you're interviewing shine. The interview is about them. It's not about me. So if I can help them along by asking, good questions and by listening and being able to be present with them, not thinking, oh my goodness, what is the next question I have to ask, but just being very natural and going with the flow. I mean, Joey talked about that earlier. You have to be, none of those interviews were scripted. Each person that I interviewed, I guess most of them had a book or a magazine or something like that, but at the same time, I didn't really know what I was going to ask them. I knew that it was important for them to get their message out, and I was the medium with which to do that.
Yeah, that's excellent, Patricia, and you are very good at that, so I really enjoy it. I got to be the videographer. Does that count?
Of course it does.
So we have to find, I'm just going to go back to Joey for a second, or Joseph, because we need to know which one of the statements was not true about you, Joseph.
Not true was the chronic pain one. I never went to the Mayo Clinic.
You never went to the Mayo Clinic. Okay, so some people got that right in the chat room. So I'm just going to quickly see the chat if there's any more questions. Okay, so thank you, Patricia. Thank you, Joey. And next week we have another guest. Oceana Rivers is going to be speaking about finding your voice through writing. I'm going to go back to me on the screen, I guess, because right now we're getting Joseph. You're going to be on there all night. Just keep smiling, Joseph. So Oceana Rivers will do finding your voice through writing. Now, Oceana has written over 100 blogs. And if you want to check them out ahead of time, she's at no, that's not what it is. Oh, explorewithin.ca. So Oceana, you can type that in if you're there. And she's done weekend retreats with women to help them. And one of the things she really works on is body image, liking your body image. So it's going to be really a treat to have Oceana next week. And also Patricia will be doing her Heart Awakening interview with Taslim Jaffer, who's one of our writers from Heart, Mind, Wisdom book #2. And Taslim talks about being your best authentic self, which kind of leads further into what Joseph was saying about always just doing what your heart feels is right, your heart work, and then it's natural and you don't necessarily have to work with a script or ever get bored with your topic. Because I can bet you that if you start a radio show, you want to keep going with it for a long time, you're going to have to love that topic or else it'll become like a job and you won't enjoy it. So that's it for this evening. I don't have anything else that I'm just checking my notes. That's what I want to say. So everybody, thank you for being with us and have a really good week. The only homework I have for you is explore Blog Talk Radio. Give yourself the option of checking that out so that you know whether or not you might one day be an internet superstar like Joseph. And log on to Joseph's show. He's put it up there and listen to him. So that's it. Good night, everybody. Thanks for visiting.
Good night.
Bye.